Alright everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video with Fat Phil, and I want to talk about how I kind of feel a little bit overwhelmed right now. There's a lot of stuff going on in the game that's even kind of, I don't want to say getting like hidden, but like, I feel like there's a lot happening even that I feel your account needs to get prepared for, and I kind of called this a while ago where I said that when they released their road ahead, that it really wasn't a road ahead. It was kind of this spend ahead. It was kind of, hey, here's all this stuff to work on in the coming months. And that one of my biggest fears that's kind of come to fruition now is that the road ahead didn't cover much more than the first couple of months of this. Like, we're almost completely done with that road ahead at this point. Like, let that sink in. We've got all the Gungans. Jar Jar's in the game. The Mandalore bonus zone is going to be in the next territory battle. Like, the only things that we haven't got from that road ahead are Master Obi-Wan, or Master Qui-Gon, and Padawan Space Jesus. Those are the only two things we haven't gotten. And that's a scary thought, because that road ahead was only like 2 months ago. So, I want to talk about why I kind of feel overwhelmed, and hopefully we get some more communication on, hey, these, with these things in the game now, here's what you can expect. So please, like and subscribe, comment down below, let me know your thoughts. Let's give huge shout outs to the channel members for all of their continued support. If you're ever interested, that link is down below, along with a link to the Discord, so you guys can check that out. Again, thank you guys for putting your faith in me to bring you good content. Thank you for, being, your generosity, especially those Clokey and Joe Correa, for just constantly always gifting channel memberships and making my life so extremely difficult. No, thank you guys. It is so very much appreciated. Let's get into our introduction, and let's talk about kind of why I feel overwhelmed and why, I'm kind of nervous going into this next era of SWGOH. Alright, so, obviously right now there's a lot happening. We got the Gungans, with only one of them farmable right now in Boss Nass. So Boss Nass is the only one farmable, but everybody's here. Jar Jar is, I should say he's in the game because we have the character skin. He's not quite released yet, but he'll be here very soon. We now have the new information on the Mandalore bonus zone, so a lot of players who have Bo-Katan Mandalore can start taking advantage of that. My guild is going to be making a very big push there, and I had called that I thought that Mandalore bonus zone would come out as the same time as the raid, right? Like, I felt like that was a shoo-in. I felt that was like a no-brainer, that they're going to want to capitalize on getting you to spend money on the raid, getting you to spend money on, Jar Jar because of that, and then in turn also trying to get you to spend money on the Mandalorians. I think the one thing I missed was that I thought the capital ship would be here. No word on that yet, which, is a breath of, fresh air, to be honest. But it's a lot to be thinking about as someone who isn't actively spending money in the game on these things, right? And again, I try to make sure I preface the words, I use the right words there, because I can't call myself free to play thanks to the Lightspeed bundles. So I try to, I say, I'm not actively spending money right now. I don't really plan to be spending any money right now. And it can be a little bit overwhelming when I think about all of this stuff to farm in the coming months and trying to keep up in these areas. And I'm kind of overwhelmed and honestly a little bit concerned, because they had this big road ahead. For the first time in months, we had solid communication about where the game was going, and we're 2.5, maybe 3 months removed from that post, not even, and we're almost through all that content, right? We haven't got the Naboo raid yet, but we've gotten everything leading up to it, except for Master Qui-Gon and Padawan Space Jesus. So, and if you're wondering who Padawan Space Jesus is, I mean, if you don't know who Space Jesus is, then we've got problems, right? But no, it's a lot to be thinking about right now, especially as someone who, if you're spending the money, it's probably not as, I think a lot of you, it's a lot easier to, not necessarily, you're still spending a lot of money and it can feel exhausting doing that, but you're not as concerned about, hey, where is this going to come from? Because it's just a swipe of the credit card away. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing at all. You guys support this game, and you make sure that I'm able to play it and complain about it from a free-to-play perspective. But no, when you're spending the money from, and again, I talk to a bunch of people who do spend money. Like, I don't want you to think that I just like think these things through. That to them, a lot of times it's just a matter of, can I buy this or not? You know, but I think we're in a scary position if we don't get some more communication about them for a road ahead to say, hey, this is kind of, you know, here's the Naboo raid. What can you be thinking about now next? Because if they just kind of release this Naboo raid and then we don't hear anything for a couple of months, like, we'd just be aimlessly playing this game. Like, I feel like we're still a really big release away this year from something. And I say that because Jar Jar was a big release, but you think, like, we got Bo-Katan and we still got a GL, so, and a, you know, new capital ship. Like, there's a lot that we could still get in, you know, 2024. And it would just be nice to kind of get any indication of what that will be. And I'm not saying right now. I'm just saying that I think as soon as this raid launches, we kind of need to find out. So that's kind of why I'm feeling overwhelmed, is I'm kind of thinking through all the things that they've released and all these things that they've done, right? All the things they've done. And I'm starting to think, like, man, it's adding up. Like, we're coming up short. I'm coming up and I'm like, I don't know that, like, what else is there to, you know, like, what else is coming? There's something looming over everything. You know, Big Brother's always watching. You know, and I think the Lightspeed bundles that they just released are a really good indication of what they want you to be doing. I think the previous Lightspeed bundles, I think, did a very good job of giving you some things that were kind of a little bit more obscure. You know, the one I'd say that didn't fit for me was Starkiller. I felt like that was just a big cash grab for them, right? But the Beskar Mando bundle, the Rey bundle, the Kylo bundle, even the, like, Rebel bundle, I felt did really good jobs of kind of giving out some characters that were a lot less common, right? The Phoenix, the First Order, Resistance were kind of these factions that were just left to the side. And even Beskar Mando, him, you know, the characters for him, that look, like, I only have 2 of them at Relics. I don't have Queel at Relics. I don't have Cara Dune at Relics. I didn't have IG, you know, 12 at Relics, or IG 11. Sorry, I get confused because there's 2 of them, and but God, it's late. But I felt like they did a very good job of giving you these bundles that were not necessarily for obscure characters, but characters that at one point everybody had at Relics because that was what the meta was, that was what was fresh and in, and then kind of lost that with Rise of the Empire. Well, these most recent bundles that they released for C-3PO, the Night Sisters, the Geonosians, you know, Separatist, General Skywalker, they kind of have a different feel to it because, in my opinion, the one that doesn't make the most sense, make the sense to me, is the Night Sisters. But, like, the Geonosians, the Ewok bundle, the Queen Amidala or the Padme Amidala bundle, the General Skywalker bundle, they all kind of fit into the theme of this Naboo raid. So I'm not sure if Night Sisters maybe are a required faction for that, or just kind of, hey, trying to give you guys, you know, throw you a bone a little bit for something. But I definitely think that the other ones are, these other ones for Galactic Republic and Separatists, are kind of their way to say, hey, I don't want you to have an excuse to not build your Gungans or Mandalorians. And that's where I think they're going to catch, where they're going to get you, is the players in the guilds who are going to be the most successful are the ones that recognize that you can't have that excuse of, oh, well, they're not accelerated and that's why I don't have the time. Like, these Lightspeed bundles, when they first were released, remember, they flat out said that, yes, we want you to get these characters, but we want you to be able to work on the newer things. So I get this impression that these Lightspeed bundles are designed to say, hey, like, not just do we want you to have these things for the raid, but I don't want you to be saying, oh, you know what, I can use General Skywalker or Nute Gunray in the raid. I'm going to go build them because they're a lot less expensive than the Gungans, or I'd rather, you know, like, go build them than build the Mandalorians. So I definitely think that that's kind of the direction we're heading down, that they're kind of showing you, hey, here's the blueprints to success. You know, Zepho, Mandalore, you know, doing well in this raid. and they're saying, hey, like, we're gonna help you, get over the finish line a little bit, but you got to do the rest of the, heavy lifting. So I don't know if that all makes sense to you guys, but it kind of makes sense in my head that the shift in this game, it feels like there's a lot happening, and I feel like there's even more that's kind of bubbling underneath the surface, right? Kind of like a volcano ready to explode. That, like, we've gotten a steady lava flow kind of coming up, but we haven't got that big Pompeii eruption yet to bury us all in something. And I feel like it's just right beneath the surface, Maybe I'm completely wrong, but kind of we'll bookmark this video into, like, State of the Galaxy or something, and we'll kind of see what the next road ahead and major updates are, and if I'm kind of sniffing it out properly, because something just isn't adding up for me right now. We didn't get the major reveal yet, but we're almost all the way through that original, road ahead of, hey, here's all the stuff that's coming. So once we get Padawan Space Jesus, once we get Master Qui-Gon, I think that next character we get is either going to fit into something like Zori, where it's just a lifter for a faction. Because, like, when the Stap was first released, I don't know that we really knew that this Naboo raid was coming. I could be wrong, but I don't think, it didn't quite make a lot of sense. We were all like, why are we getting this character? We didn't really know. So, and then it obviously makes sense now that the Staps can be required for this Naboo raid, so that kind of makes sense. So, the next character, is it going to be something like Zori, where, it's fitting into this faction, it makes sense. But if it's anything like the Stap, we'll start speculating that we know what the next major farm is going to be. So, let me know your thoughts, guys. I know I hit a lot at you. I appreciate all of your continued support. If you are still watching right now, go ahead and comment, Phil, you need to get to sleep. You are exhausted, because I absolutely am. It took me a while to kind of come up with something to give you guys for tonight, just because I was, like, fast asleep, and I'm like, no, I need to get you a video for Sunday. So I love you all. May the Force be with you. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, my friends.